76 in here, and they got 68 next door. So
Okay. All right. Hello, everybody. This is Leonard Johnson with the Run the Hammer podcast. Like to welcome all of you again to our growing community. A lot of you are leaving great comments, and really appreciate your support. If you have questions or whatever, just shoot it in the thing, and I'll pick it up to the coach, so he can answer the questions for you. But we just roll freely here. Not a big intro. Just a bunch of country guys just sitting out talking about football and football programs across the state. One thing I like to do is we fund this through my insurance agency. So if any of you got some insurance needs or got some retirement needs, and hit me up, we'll get you going. Probably pitch in something that's better than what you have, and with me, if I can't pitch in something that you have, I'm not going to take your money. But most of the people I sit down and talk with, they end up being in a better position than what we met. So we appreciate your business, so we can expand this program and keep going. All right, I've eaten up enough time for this segment right here. So let me see if we can bring our guests on. We got the Brian Hennessy. I think what we're going to do is call him, we give him a nickname, Run the Score, since he just beating the crap out of people. But I'm just teasing him. Brian and I go back, dang, when was it that we met, Brian?
when you came to Marion High School, when you got selected as head football coach, it was 2013.
Okay, I can't remember. Get old and everything. And
3 years. You were here 3 years. I think you were here 3 years.
13, yeah, I was there 3-4 years. Yeah, and we met then and got to be good friends. We continued that friendship after I left, and well, we've helped each other along the way, doing some projects and doing some other things. So we're going to bring the great Brian Hennessy on, and let's see if I can make you bigger than I am, Brian. Let's see here. Technology is not one of my strongest suit right here. Let's see. God dang it, it'll work. All right, yeah, here you go. You can look at both of us. This is Brian Hennessy from Marion High School, and glad to have you on, Brian.
Thank you for having me on. I appreciate it.
Yeah, like I said, Brian is he has a story to tell, because his is one of triumph and also one of frustration, and also one of being in the middle, but he always stuck in there for Marion County, I respect him so much for what he did in the past, what he's doing now, for those kids, for that community and everything. So Brian, for those 4 people that don't know you, you mind introducing yourself to them? And don't be shy now, just tell it like it is.
Okay. I'm head football coach and athletic director Brian Hennessy here at Marion High School. I am a product of Marion High School. I graduated here in 1990, played multiple sports here, grew up through the Marion Rec Department, played football here 3 years for Coach Bob Rankin. Learned a lot of football from him and his staff. So that's kind of where my football background goes. It also goes back to my youth director, Ronnie Rice, who used to be the middle school coach. So he directed me there on my path of some football as well as life issues there. So just went from here to college on scholarship, and then knew what I wanted to do probably around 6th, 7th grade. I was coaching and teaching. My late mother was a teacher. And so that's where I got into education as a teacher and a coach. My first job was at Mullins High School, where I was there for 18 years. And in the last 10 years now, I've been over here at Marion High School, teaching and coaching, doing the same sports that I did as a player growing up here at Marion.
Now, when did you finish Marion?
1990. So
Okay.
Played 3 years for Coach Rankin, 1987, 88, 89. Played those 3 years. really enjoyed my time as a player here under his direction and leadership. The staff was phenomenal. Didn't know it at the time, but now I do. So really good. Got a good education, and uh, that's come from family. My mom was a teacher, like I said, and my dad was more, sports guy. So grew up here in Marion at the rec department, and just playing sports, various sports, and continued on through high school and college. And now I'm still doing the same thing that I've done growing up, just doing it on the coaching side instead of the player side.
You what college did you go to?
I went to Erskine College
Erskine, okay.
and majored in physical education. I had a double minor in secondary education and biology. Played tennis there. Grew up playing tennis, so started out that. Then I went over to football, because Marion being a football town, and Coach Rankin was also my coach in both sports, so he kind of convinced me to come play football for him. So it all worked out as I grew up here, and that's where I pretty much I love sports. Just always been a sports guy. Love playing them, love coaching them. Being an athletic director, I try to make sure all our sports are competitive and just put on a good performance as they can for Marion High School.
Now I see the connection between you and tennis. I never knew you played tennis in college.
I did. They gave me more money to play tennis. I went to the same school my brother played at, and played for the same coach. But Coach Rankin, no people don't know this. Coach Rankin actually was a tennis coach for a while, so that's how he knew me from there. And when I was able to play football for him, I moved over and did that too. So, my goal was to get a scholarship somehow, some way, whatever sport it was. So it just happened to be that one.
Now, you mentioned Coach Rankin about 4 or 5 times. I met the man, when he was at I was at Allendale Fairfax, and his son, what's his son name? Binky was coaching down there at Wade Hampton, I believe. And just so happened I got, I think it was a playoff game or something, and Coach Rankin was there. And we got to sit down, and automatically we connected, and he was such a class act and everything. How instrumental was Coach Rankin to you? Because I know he is. You mentioned Coach Rankin and Marion. You kind of touching on God-like figure right there.
He was very influential, impactful, inspirational. I call him the 3 guys of coaching with me. People don't understand. I played for him 6 years in one sport or the other, or both. So he just the way he handled his practices, the way he handled his players. He surrounded himself with an excellent staff. Those coaches were just as good as he was, even though he had the title. Playing for him was an honor to me. I'm just one of many that got to say that. But I'm thankful where I played and where I grew up, and that he was here to be my role model, as I use it and as I say about him. And learned a lot of football from him, observing him through practice and game preparation. You kind of remind me of him working with you those 3 years. Being disciplined, holding players accountable, having rules and consequences, just preparation throughout the year, off season, spring practice, summer practice. Everything he did was kind of what I wanted to do there. So, he won a lot of football games coaching throughout his tenure, and at many places. And so he's my mentor and the person I kind of looked up to. Outside of my parents and my family, he was the one guy, him and his staff, that I looked up to. I will throw in some other names on his staff. You had Cecil Ford I looked up to. Really loved playing football for him. Don Cribb was an excellent coach. Leon Peacock, Coach Herb Ward, Leo Richardson. A lot of those guys on the staff. Coach Rice was at junior high. He was my youth group director. They were all football guys, and they were guys I looked up to.
Well, I can see that, and you mentioned two of those guys, Coach Four and Coach Crib. So Cecil had me laughing just about every day, shaking my head every day when we were going to practice field. He was hilarious sometimes, but you had to get to know for
Right. Yeah, he was one in a million. That's all I can say.
Yeah, he was different, but
I knew I,
God.
I knew I wanted to teach PE and driver's ed. I was going to be half Coach Four, half Coach Rankin. So when I was a student here, so I knew what I wanted to do.
Yeah, it's and then of course Cribbs. I think I replaced him at Marion.
Yes,
I
sir.
believe that's how it went, and um, both of those guys are looking down on you, and I'm sure that they are very proud of what you're doing right now. You're
Well,
carrying that legacy on.
I'm trying to do what they did when they were here as coaches, and that's be impactful, inspirational, and influential, and try to guide players and students in the right direction.
Why did you want to coach other than Coach Rankin? And then I know he had a lot of influence, but why did Brian Hennessy want that coach in front of his name?
I kind of saw how they were looked up upon like as coaches. They the impact they had. I enjoy sports. Um, I played many sports growing up, and I kind of knew what, like I said, I kind of know what I wanted to do around middle school. I love making an impact in people's lives. I saw, my mother was a school teacher, and she loved helping kids. My daddy was kind of my first coach at the rec level and lessons. Whatever we did there, he was always with me. He was a former Marion player, so we grew up winning Marion games throughout childhood. So, like I said, I've been around Marion football pretty much my whole life, either as a fan, player, assistant coach, now head coach, or an opposing coach. So I've been around Marion football that way. But just I enjoy sports, and I enjoy the chemistry, the camaraderie of being around people and using sports as an outlet to guide players throughout their life. But I'm a competitor like anybody else, and I grew up one-on-one playing tennis. So you ain't nobody to blame but yourself. You figure it out in practice. And so I transferred it over to football when I played here. And a lot of my friends play too. So it's one of those things that you grew up in Marion, you want to play football. And I enjoy coaching. I mean, it's one of those um, areas where you can make, like I said, you can be impactful on kids' lives. And I think I have on some in many ways, and at least the players have that played for me throughout the years at both schools. So that's what I wanted to do, and just wanted to teach and coach and make a good living doing what I enjoy.
I have never. Well, there are a few coaches that I've met um, in my little run at coaching, and uh, you have gone through so much crap, as I call it. Up and downs, disappointments and everything. And if you want to talk about those, that's fine. But the question I'm getting at is that what keeps you going after all those disappointments that you've had over your career? The ups and downs, disappointments, and everything. What kept you going?
I think it's the passion of coaching and helping kids. Um, Everything's not going to go your way in this profession. Um, there may be changes made while you're on staff. There may be changes as you are the main person in the staff. But you persevere. You got to be resilient. You got to move on and go make an impact where you can or where you want it. I've had a lot more positive than negative, Coach Johnson, in my educational career. But you try to turn that negative into a positive, and that's just how I've always been. And I think I've done that on a lot of issues. But sometimes places don't make the correct decisions, and but they'll have to live with that. But fortunately, Marion welcomed me home 10 years ago, and so I've been doing it ever since. So kind of turn that negative into a positive.
Well, that's good because I always admired you for that. even when I was hired there, you could see I learned about the disappointment, and yeah, that was a tough thing for me to whittle through until, and then not to get too much on the other side. But you helped me a lot during that period of time, the transition, as I call it, into helping me transition into that community, and you just did a good job, and I really appreciated that.
Well, you're welcome. I've always kind of like accepted my role as an assistant coach to kind of be the right hand man or help the head coach in any way possible. It's all about the players and whatever the head coach wants done. So I've done that uh, throughout my career. I've tried to help whoever was selected as the head coach and do what I can. I learned that when I first started coaching. Titles are one thing, but we're all coaches. And I got a little pride in Marion football, and I want to see it be successful. So I'll do everything I can as a coach to do it. Not only was I a former player and assistant coach, but just trying to make sure that we can have a successful season as possible on and off the field. I feel like that's a lot of coaches do that, and you got to accept your role and do what you can to help the head coach be successful. That's the main thing you need to do as an assistant coach is prepare players to win games and win in life and win in the classroom, and also help the head coach get there.
Mm-hmm. Well, now, when you became head coach there, were you surprised?
I was probably the most surprised person around.
Why is that?
Because politics, I guess, might be one word. But I think I was kind of surprised. Finally, Marion hired one of their own.
Mm-hmm.
What happened and what occurred. Marion had never hired one of their former players to come back and be the head football coach. So I was kind of shocked that I got selected, not based on my credentials, but just the fact that they had never done that. So hopefully I can be here a good amount of years and we can be successful in the classroom and on the field.
That's hilarious. That you'll say, well, they finally got around to getting one of us to come back home. Duh, I've been there all along.
Well, truth be told, there's not really a whole lot of Marion graduates in education. I got less than between 5 and 10 probably that I know of. So, but being around Marion football my entire life is pretty much what I know. Like I said before, and hopefully they can let me stay around a few more years and continue to do what I'm doing, which is try to do the best job I possibly can.
Now, I know you had a administration turnover this year. How's the administration? How are you in administration working with that turnover?
So far this year's been really good. Our administration has supported our football program and all athletic programs for that matter. So the administration change has been good. We've got good support. They're helping us out every way we can and what we need or need to do for our players to be successful in the classroom and on the field. So our new principal was a cheer coach. So she's been to many football games and basketball games. And so our new principal is fully supportive of our football program as well as all the other sports here at Marion High School.
And from the top, what's superintendent name, Doctor?
Dr. Pathay. Yeah, everything right now is good. Whatever we need, we're there to try to get. If not, we'll try to do fundraisers for it down the road. But right now, so far, so good. Everything that the players need, we'll get, or whatever the coaches need for each sport. We're school district and school are trying to make sure that we can provide for our student athletes.
Now you straddle. I guess that's a good word to use. with staff. Whereas I think one time we talked, you said there were only one or two coaches in the building. Is that correct?
For football right now, there are none, except myself.
Yeah, there's 0 football coaches in the building.
We have a lot of coaches with other jobs. They're excellent coaches. They're doing all they can do to help us be successful. They just chose other careers. I teach career development. So a lot of people, education just doesn't have a lot of coaches and teachers going into the profession right now with what's transpired the last 3 years with COVID and a lot of early retirees and people just aren't going into education because of the pay. But we're making do. Our guys have other jobs, and they get here and they coach best they can when they're here, and we meet on the weekends. So just don't have them teaching. So, but they're still great coaches and great people. They're just not in the profession of education. So, but they're coaching football and helping me to try to be successful with the program as we can. We're all the team here. So those coaches are trying to be impactful as well, and they are. It's just, I brag on them too in my career classes. Hey, these guys, even though they might not be in the building teachers, they're doing their jobs or whatever company they work for or whatever business they have. I said, those are some, that's what you have in America. You can do whatever you want to do. And, but they want to coach football too, so which is fine. And we have that in multiple sports as well. We have a lot of coaches that aren't not in education, but they're doing they enjoy coaching. So I think it's a sign of the times in a lot of places like that. A lot of people aren't choosing the educational field because the pay is bad. Me, on the other hand, I enjoy teaching and coaching, so I didn't really want to do anything else. That's one of those decisions that I made years ago.
Now, did you the question I had, how do you handle that? I mean, a lot of guys, they complain and moan and groan about the not having enough people in the building and everything. How do you manage those coaches?
How do I manage them? Well, I give them duties and responsibilities, and we utilize their strengths to help us on which side of the ball that they can help us with. We tend to lift weights a little bit more after school to give us maybe 45 minutes to an hour there to allow for some of our coaches to get at practice from their other jobs. Mm-hmm. So it's a term in education you call monitor and adjust, and we've done that quite a bit here with coaches. And I don't think it's just a Marion issue. I think it's kind of nationwide, maybe on some areas where a lot of your coaches don't teach, but that's okay now. I've learned how to handle it, and the coaches I have they're excellent workers. They're all here today trying to get us ready for the next game on Sunday preparation. If one can't be out, usually the other one will help out and fill in whichever side of the ball. We do realize that sometimes the job may carry into overtime, or they may have to miss or their work. But we just try to monitor and adjust on more daily and weekly than yearly. Mm-hmm. But a lot of the guys, they enjoy coaching. They don't really want to get in the classroom, so we understand that. But I brag on them in my career development classes. Hey, you can work at this plant, or you can go work in your own business, whatever they're doing. Mm-hmm. And those are their role models too. Some of my coaches, they're children players. We've had several that way in the past. We have 2 right now. They're children play, but they know their positions. They play, a lot of them have played the game, so they're trying to be beneficial to what we do. And this year, I kind of surrounded myself. I couldn't get a lot of coaches in the building, so I surrounded myself with some former players that I could trust, that knew the system, that knew me, and they had a lot of Swamp Fox pride, and they wanted to see the program continue to be successful, and they wanted to be a part of it under my direction. So I have resorted to that.
Okay. Well, that's great, man. I'm glad you making that uh that work for you and everything, because a lot of guys are struggling with that, and it's hard to find coaches who disciplined enough to do it. Number two,
Right.
loyal to the program.
Right. We know we've got a good feeder program. We got several coaches down there, and one of our coaches goes back and forth between the middle school and our high school at his position, and some of our coaches go back and forth.
Mhm.
So we're getting that development there where the players are learning some of the coaches at our middle school, and then when they come up, by the time they hit our level, they're prepared and they got that familiar coach looking at them, coaching them. So. We tend to use our middle school kind of, it's more like our JVs now, but we have them a tough middle school conference. Seventh and eighth graders playing, we know we're the smallest school in that conference. By the time they get up to us, they're prepared. We're playing better competition and being more developed. And our ninth graders stay with us on the varsity level. We tried to implement our JV program this year. We lost it because of COVID-19. We just didn't have enough linemen this year to play some games. We had backs and receivers, but we were trying to have 3 programs going. But right now we're doing as best we can with 2.
Okay. Now, how many kids do you have playing 9 through 12?
Right now we're dressing out close to 50, 9 through 12.
Gosh, I wouldn't even know what to do with those kind
Yeah,
of numbers.
well, yeah, I know your situation, but we have, winning obviously has changed that some.
Yeah.
You weren't here, obviously. Um, Once you got everything established, but winning has helped that, and um, we always emphasize strength in numbers.
Hmm.
Strength in numbers. We don't need you to play the whole game. We need you to play some roles here on offense, some defense, some special teams. We got some guys that know their roles. We're not asking them to go play defensive line the whole game or offensive line the whole game or make 20 tackles in the defense. Just come in and fill your roles to help us be successful. And a lot of our kids are doing that. And so far, everything's working out pretty good the last several years with strength in numbers. We emphasize that. We usually had around 30, 35 in the summer. We've added a few more that wanted to come out. School started earlier this year, so that was beneficial.
Hmm.
Getting players at practice with the August 1st modified school calendar. So that was really good. That I knew that would be a positive. The school starting, we'd have more players interested. And as soon as we get the summer months hit, we got our middle schoolers up here with us, working and lifting and getting used to our coaches and what we do on each side of the ball.
Okay, that's great. Um, that booster club you got, that's one of the top 3 or 4 that I've ever been involved with. You want to talk about them for a second?
Well, since you were here, a lot has changed. A lot of uh, names and faces have changed with the Booster Club. There are still some that are still around, but our Booster Club recently got taken over probably the last 6 or 8 months by some football parents, and a lot of parents, their children play other sports. And so those parents have taken the initiative to strengthen the Booster Club, get a lot of sponsorship, take on projects to help all of our sports teams. And so right now our Booster Club is working real hard um, to help all of our student athletes in each sport. We recently had our football school board redone. It was pressure washed and repainted. All the bulbs replaced. We're doing that for all of our school boards. So the Booster Club's doing that. They provide meals for our teams. Anything we need, they're trying to get sponsorships for. So our Booster Club is working real hard to help all of our sports here. And you are right. Our Marion High School Booster Club has always been about helping the student athletes in whatever sport and whatever they can do. Not only providing awards throughout the year, but whatever they can provide with meals or uniforms. So a lot of the parents have taken over, and it's turned it more into a more positive situation where they're trying to help our student athletes in all sports.
That's good, man. Because they were always supportive, back in the day, and and I would glance because there's some things that they're doing, and they seem to be doing, still getting there, helping and helping those kids along. Um, how's the community treating you, Brian?
So far, so good. A
Hmm.
lot of support for our football program as well as the other programs. I think the community has rallied around our success and not only football recently, but other sports as well. A lot of pride here. They want to see our programs do real well. They want to see our students succeed in the classroom. They want us to see our students go on to college. So we got quite a bit of that going on in some respective sports. We're trying to get kids to the next level. We're trying to have all of our student athletes graduate. We don't want anybody to miss that. That's one thing I can say in my 3 years of being a head coach is all my players have graduated. So at either school. So that's one thing there. But a lot of support right now. And the players are working hard and in all of our sports. Our programs are getting better. They're putting in the time in the off season. A lot of coaches are to get better in our respective
Hmm.
areas.
This your third year as head coach?
Second,
Oh, second year. Okay, okay, okay. I thought I missed and went and died there for a second.
no,
Yeah, well, that's great, man. And they are good. That's a good community. You know, that's what I say. And you can only go up from there. And I think if everybody, there's nothing like winning that will bring a community together. Let's put it like that. And when they get a smell of going being playing on playing the last game of the year, that's a it's hard to get that taste out of your mouth and everything.
well, I was a player here, and you give it your all, and
Hmm.
that's the way I've kind of viewed it. Players will give you all they can. Hopefully, the coaches will too. Right now, we've got that going on both sides. Players giving it all, coaches giving it all. Uh, as far as football, we um, challenged our coaches and players with our schedule this year. COVID kind of dictated the schedule. Who you didn't know who you were going to play the last 2 years. You
Hmm.
lucky to get a game. So this year we felt like that we could play, bring back some rivalries that we hadn't played in a long time, and we not only wanted that in the non-region games, we wanted to play good teams to prepare us for our region and playoff. But so far the formula is working, and we're hoping to keep it that way. We hold our kids accountable. I got rules and consequences that we follow, and we don't have a whole lot of off the field issues that we had in the past because you got to have rules and consequences for it, and they follow them and they know them, and I print it up on their monthly calendar on the back of it when I hand it to them about the practice schedule and games
Hmm.
that we have. So I give them a hand copy of that so they'll know what we're doing each week. But I think one thing I learned from Coach Rankin, as well as a lot of the coaches I've worked for, is discipline is the cornerstone of athletics. Players want to be disciplined. Um, they want to know what their expectations are on and off the field. They want to be challenged. They want to be loved. They want to be cared for. So I just take a little bit that I've learned from a lot of the coaches I work for and kind of try to utilize it as best I can during my time as head coach. I think I've done that. I think each year you'll learn some things, you'll change some things, but at the end they still want to be disciplined. And they want that structure, organization, and guidance that you are providing them.
You are one of the biggest Packer fan that I know of. You still make that trip up north to see them play?
I'm still on season ticket waiting list. Uh, I've moved up about 20,000 names in 10 years. So, yeah, I'm still a Green Bay Packers shareholder, still a fan. They'll always be my team. I'll pull for them. A lot of pride there. it kind of reminds me of a lot of small towns in South Carolina where football just, rules the town. They're no different. They're just in the NFL. But you want to, utilize football as a pride of your community, and that place certainly does. And it's unlike any other I've experienced during my visit there. So yeah, I'm still a Packers fan. Always be a Packers fan. I'm not going to deviate that, but I know you're a time with the Packers and the other team in the North. So, but football, you got to cheer for your teams and hope they do well. And I think Green Bay will they've always been successful, and they'll continue to be successful throughout their as long as they're there. So, but I love football. I grew up going to a lot of games, not only at Marion High School, but I had season tickets to South Carolina. I went to a lot of Furman games. My parents took it to Clemson games. So I had my tour throughout the state of South Carolina watching college football and try to get my guys to the next level if I can somewhere to play football. And, we were watching film last year and we're watching, I said, every one of those guys in the backfield as we run flex bone is playing college football right now.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you want. But, Green Bay's that's my team, and I won't deviate from that.
How did you become such a big fan of Green Bay?
I was always intrigued by the way the community owned the team, the shareholders, and when they opened it up, I bought a share of the Packers, and just kind of like the identity of being an NFL owner.
And how much did that share cost you?
Well, I won't disclose that, but let's put it this way. But I figure by the time my life has ran its course, I will have owned an NFL team for less than $1 a game.
Well, that's great, man.
I just hope I get to see them one day on my season tickets instead of having to buy off StubHub. So, but it was I will tell you this. There, when I went to my trip there, my wife and I, we were in the atrium, and I see a person walking across the atrium and nobody's talking to him. And this was Christmas night of 2011. And my wife is a Chicago Bears fan, and I'm Green Bay Packers, and of course opposites attract. And I said, I got to go. I go talk to that person. She said, who are you going to? So I said, just stay here. I'm going to talk to him. So I reached over and walked up to him, and it was the president and CEO of Green Bay Packers, Mark Murphy.
Mm-hmm.
I told her, I said, that's how I roll. I'm going to roll with the, teaching kids at school, and I'm going to roll with the Packers CEO president. But nobody was talking to him. I said, no, he's not going to walk through here without anybody talking to him. I'm going to be the somebody that talks to him. So I go up and, talk a little bit about football and tell him I was up visiting from South Carolina for the game. And Green Bay won that night, so it was a fun night. Just a different experience there. I've been to several NFL games, but that by far was probably the best experience I've ever had. So
it's a different world up there.
I didn't expect him to walk through the atrium, so I was like, well, I'll go talk to him and talk 2 or 3 minutes with him. And that was good.
I was mesmerized by that community back in 70. Was it 71? Yeah, back in 71. And it's just to be able to still feel the presence of Vince Lombardi there,
right?
And it was eerie, but the experience is real. I mean, there's just no matter what time, that's a special place to go look at a football game.
It is. It's a passionate fan base, and they know their football, and it's a fun experience I had, and hopefully I'll get to go back again down the road.
Tell your wife not to beat me up too much. I had the note right here, and I didn't skip over there. How's she doing? Because I know in order for you to do the things that you do, you have to have an understanding wife.
I have a great wife who loves football. She's always enjoyed football as a fan. Her father played at Iowa State under Johnny Majors.
Wow.
Her brothers played high school football, so she's been going to games many years where she's from in Iowa. it's kind of a house divided, half Iowa State. But
Mhm.
she's always been an athlete herself, playing sports growing up and in college. So she understands that I'm going a lot with not only being a head football coach, but an athletic director. But she enjoys watching the games. She's watching a lot more on Facebook Live now, but she's doing what she can to take care of her family and her needs out there. She just had some surgery herself, so she's recovering from that. But she's a big supporter of mine. She loves the game, and she knows how passionate I am towards helping kids at either school I worked at.
Mhm. Yeah, and I think you had a dog too, didn't you?
Yeah, he unfortunately passed away,
Oh, I'm
but
sorry to hear that.
we've got two more in the meantime. So
Okay.
but dogs are the best. I mean, they're like family members to
Mhm.
us. And,
What their names?
well, Jackson just passed away a couple of years ago. Right
Okay.
now, we've got McGee and Bo.
McGee and Bull.
McGee and Bo, and they're Pouchons, which is a mix between the poodle and the Bichon Frise.
Uh-huh.
They get the intelligence of the poodle and the demeanor of the Bichon. They're great house dogs. A lot of them are in the Midwest, where she's from. So
Mhm.
we enjoy them. They're great dogs, and they're really, really great to be around humans. They're small, like 10 to 15 pounds. So we enjoy them. So that's our passions. Take care of the animals there. And my wife grew up on a farm, so there's plenty of horses and everything else out there. It's just like you would expect in the Midwest on a Iowa farm. So
When you became the head coach, all that time you were an assistant under a couple of under two prior guys. How did you get those kids to see you as the guy in charge now after being assistant for so long? How long did that mm, how long did that marriage take to form?
I think it was an easy transition. They knew me. They had played, majority of them, or they'd had me in class. When you're in the building and you're a school teacher, they all know you. So I think that was kind of an easy transition. Last summer, I think it was kind of an easy transition at the previous school when I was there. The players knew me, and they knew what I expected. They kind of knew me as being either the offensive coordinator or special teams coordinator, what we were going to do
Mm-hmm.
to be successful. We had a lot of the coaches stayed except for one within the last 2 years. A lot of them stayed except for one. So the stability of the coaches remaining intact was good.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody was supportive of who got the job, and I would have been the same way if somebody else had got selected. I'm just that way. I enjoy coaching and teaching that much, and I think it's been a good transition. I do things a little different. I'm kind of unorthodox on some things, but I think it's effective because the things I do are kind of go back to my days as a player under Coach Rankin, and some of the things done there are not done in this day and age. But still got to hold kids accountable and be disciplined and have your practices structured to what you're doing throughout the week. I didn't have a good rapport with the players. I think they had a lot of confidence in me being a coach here already. So, and they didn't really want a whole lot of change either. They
Mm-hmm.
want to see a familiar face come in and or stay on and take over and continue to do things that had worked for us. That's what's happening now. It happened, years ago when I was at those schools. So players kind of know the expectations and they played for you, so they know what to do.
On the player side, let's talk about them for a minute because I know you last couple of 2 or 3 years you've had some fantastic players come out of there. Some of them I remember when they were just babies coming out there, and I look at them now and I said, "Wow, they sure have grown up and everything." You want to talk about some of those past and presents?
Well, a lot of them have either been around the program because they had relatives or brothers who played, maybe some parents that played here. You had them when you were coaching here. So they have a lot of pride in what they got to do. They understand they got to get in the weight room and the classroom to be successful. And it goes back to what I said, a few minutes ago. Whatever we do, we want to get you to the next level. I'm more concerned what you do right now at Marion High School, and we'll try to get you to the next level where you can play college sports. Some of them are playing college sports and other sports. Mm-hmm. So not only just football, but if you do the right things in the classroom and in the weight room and on the football field during practice, everything will eventually turn out your favor down the road. With the guys we have that moved on to the next level, or they either go to college or military or get in the workforce, you want those players to be ready wherever their path is chosen to go down. So, but we do have some guys that are playing college football right now. They came out and 3 years ago, before 2019, they decided to make a difference and wanted to play. And we got TJ Sanders at South Carolina right now. Kaheem Bathes playing college ball. We got Trey Bowie, Devontae Allen. Those are some of the guys that I'm just naming. Four that I've named offhand. We've got some guys that left last year that went to play a couple of places, Methodist, Zachary Jackson. Got some at other schools, and I haven't named all of them, but they want to continue playing. The ultimate team sport is what I call it. Football to me is the ultimate team sport, and so that's what we're trying to do. Prepare them down the road. But my main concern, and they'll never hear me deviate from this, is what you do now here at Marion High School. That's my job. So it's to prepare you for each week of games and make sure that you can graduate and go out either workforce, military, or college.
10 years from now, where you see yourself, and where do you see this Marion High School being as far as football?
I don't know where I'll be 10 years from now. Hopefully, the good Lord will let me be living. I hope to still be coaching. I'm only 50 right now. So 10 years, I would be 60. I don't know where I'll be. I enjoy coaching football here at Marion. That's the plans, to be around. But right now, I'm just taking it each day at a time. I learned that from you. Take it one day at a time. And I've heard you say that. Take it one day at a time and 1 week at a time, and just try to get through what you're doing now. But I do plan to coach a good many years. I've been in it 28 now. This is 28 years coaching, 18 at Mullins, 10 here at Marion. So this is year 29 for me. I also played 3 years of football, and I played starting in 7th grade other sports. So this is I've been involved 34 of my 50 years of being on this earth. I've been involved in organized sports somehow, some way throughout Marion County. So I enjoy coaching and teaching. I feel like kids need coaches who care about them, who want to see them be successful, and kids need coaches. And a coach can impact more people on a season than a lot of them do in a lifetime. So that's some of the quotes that I learned from Reverend Graham. So I do see myself coaching. Hopefully I'll be here, but I don't know, where I'll be. There may be school consolidation here. I don't know what they're going to do. So right now I'm just trying to enjoy Marion Smallpox football at Marion High School.
That's the most logical way to look at it, my man.
Exactly.
Well, we at the last 3 or 4 minutes of this, and you get a chance to answer the question I always end the show with. And these are not hard questions, but they are thoughtful questions. Okay. If you had an hour to spend with someone inside football and outside football, you had an hour each with this particular person, who would those 2 people be and why? One in football and one outside of football.
I hadn't even really thought about that. I'd like to talk about anybody inside of football. I mean, I don't know if you're talking to anybody that's deceased or living. Uh,
Alive,
I would
whoever,
probably say,
whoever you pick, alive or dead.
I would probably say it'd probably be interested in talking to somebody like Newt Rockne.
Wow.
Who invented the forward pass. So, and Notre Dame box and all that. So that would probably be one person I probably won't talk to since I'm a Notre Dame fan as well. Somebody that I would like to talk to probably for an hour right now. That I'd probably like to talk to President Obama. I think that would be kind of a good to see how how the country was run and what he had to deal with. And so that would be, to me, that would be a figure that is in politics that I would like to just talk to.
Luke Rockne and President Obama. Wow.
Who would have thought that?
Who would have thought that? Well, I appreciate that, man. And
maybe President Obama would come through Marion, we'd have a new school. So I don't know. He got one 20 miles down the road. So.
Well, yeah, come back again because didn't he stop through Marion when he was running one time?
He stopped in Dillon.
Huh?
He stopped in Dillon.
He stopped in Dillon? Okay.
Getting to middle school. But anyway, I just feel like those would be two kind of one football, one non-football people that I've always kind of admired.
That's great, man. Well, and I always ask every coach that come on the show that. So
right,
so Nuke Rockne is one that is dear to my heart. Because I used to call one of our best running backs we had when I was at the branch. Used to call him Nuke Rockne because he had no speed, no nothing. He just run like Nuke Rockne. Yeah. Okay, Brian. I tell you what, man, I really enjoyed this last almost hour that we had with each other. And people get to know you and see why that program is flourishing now because it's under great leadership and you're standing on a couple of a bunch of shoulders that you've gotten your training from, as I say.
Right. I'd like to list a few of them. I started out with Richard Clark at Mullins, Jimmy Vereen there. Those were two guys at Mullins I learned some football from. Dave Maness was there. I've also learned from Charles Elvington. Those were some coaches that I worked for. But going back to my Belton Honey Path days, John Abercrombie, George Holtzclaw, Steve Williams. Those are some coaches I learned football from there. Marion, the staff here was great, and I've already listed them with being Coach Bob Rankin, Binky Rankin, Donald Cribb, Cecil Ford, Cleo Richardson, Tim Ward. I was very fortunate to have grown up here, and I've been very fortunate to have been around some great coaches in the profession as I've been able to work with them and for them. And also Leonard Johnson and Brian Powell would be two other names.
How's Brian doing, man?
I'm doing good.
Yeah, I haven't talked to him in a while.
Yeah.
May give him a call later on.
If there's any coach I forgot, I apologize, but I know that.
Okay, man. Well, anything in closing that you want to say?
I'd like to say thank you for letting me be on Run the Hammer podcast. I feel like I've reached the pinnacle of coaching now. I'm on your Run the Hammer podcast. But if anybody sees this, coaches that are looking out, continue to be the three eyes in your community, impactful, influential, and inspirational to your players and your schools, to any former players that see this. Remember to keep doing the right thing and be the best you can. Any coaches that see it, any fans, come out and watch a game here at Marion High School. Come see the atmosphere, the pageantry that goes on with everything that we got, our cheerleaders, our band, our players and team, and our coaches, and everything that we have to offer. So come to the game and keep supporting high school football.
Well, thank you, Brian. The honor is all mine to have you on this podcast. I probably should have done it earlier, but I'm not the smartest guy in the world either. So, but I really appreciate you coming on, and best of luck to you in the future, and best of luck to you with that program, man, because I think you are the right man for the right time, and God bless you and everything. And maybe one day I'll sneak in the stadium and sit in the back and look at those guys play.
That'd be great. That'd be great. You coach some of their siblings, so that'd be great to have you here. Anytime you want to come watch us play, please do.
You'll never see me. All right, Brian. Have a good.
I've always been honest, so I do thank you for letting me be on your show.
Okay, buddy. Talk to you later. Okay.
Have a good night. Thank you.
Okay, guys. That's Brian Hennessy, the head football coach, athletic director at Marion High School, and now you see why. I mean, just as level-headed as you want in the past and in the future. I really enjoyed working with him, and I think he's doing great things for that program. Okay, we going to take a break right now. We got our next show coming up in about 15 minutes. But for those of you who don't go to that next broadcast, we want to thank you for being on this one. And again, if you need help with your financial situation as far as insurance and retirement programs, free quote, or just come look and see if you got the right thing. Call me or inbox me. Until next time, this is Leonard Johnson with the Round the Hammer podcast signing out.